Hi there, I'm Katie Wagner. Welcome to Social Media Help Desk. This is the time every week when we get together to talk about social media, some of the tips and tricks that have been working for us around the agency, and some of the changes that are happening with the channels, because that's pretty much constant. Yeah. So today I'm here with our senior content editor, Taylor. Hi. And our junior content editor, Ivana. And we've got a lot to talk about. And the first is, ladies, they say that imitation is the sincerity to like Facebook boosted posts. They're now allowing you to boost your Instagram stories to reach more people. Mm-hmm. So you can just pay a little money to get those stories into more, in front of more people.
And this seems like such a natural progression to me. I'm actually surprised that it's taken this long for us to see something like this. Because, I mean, I've even heard on more of a consumer level, people saying, well, I only look at Instagram stories now, or I mostly, like, well, I won't see it unless you post it on your Instagram story. And so that is where the customer is, and so naturally that's where we're going to want to be placing our marketing efforts and our ads, and we've definitely been seeing that, and so it's only natural that we now see that on the ad side as well.
I agree with that. We're definitely seeing a lot more engagement in the stories than the feed, but I think one of the reasons for that is because there's not as much gunk up there. You know, there's not as much sales and boosted stuff and promotional items. It's more authentic, and I think that's why people like it. So I wonder if once it becomes promotional, will people kind of shift back to the feed and it'll even out a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've even seen this, and Ivana, you could probably speak to this too, with the Snapchat stories. I feel like as more publishers came to the platform, and you know, Cosmopolitan had a story, and all the different magazines have stories, it kind of clouded up the feed there, and then I no longer saw my friends' information or any people that I followed, and so I kind of stopped using Snapchat stories, and I moved kind of over to Instagram stories.
Well, Snapchat kind of did a good organization style where like you can have subscriptions, you can subscribe to certain brands or things like that that have are posting stories, and then on top of that you have your friends, so you can separate it a little bit better. So maybe Instagram will do something like that eventually.
Yeah, because right now it's all kind of lumped in.
Yeah, it's all conjoined together, which is could be frustrating for some people who don't want to see so many.
Also, just FYI, I'm trying not to be offended that you didn't think I would know about Snapchat stories.
Well, Ivana and I always talk about
Snapchat a lot together. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you're right. I've never been on Snapchat. I don't know what a Snapchat story is, except that it's probably like an Instagram story.
Yes, very similar. Imitation is the best form of flattery.
I do know how to do that. And then one more thing is that Instagram is also unveiling some new analytics, which kind of goes along with increased ad capabilities, right? They're going to give marketers analytics to be able to tell who you're reaching, and a lot more demographics on your target audience and who the people are that are interacting with you on Instagram. And they're offering a look at, does it overlap with who's interacting on your website, which is interesting.
When I was looking into this, it's really about what the audience is doing once they get to your website, or what they're doing after your ad, because we already have access to a little bit of that.
Yes.
There is some insights for Instagram, but what this is really doing is opening up what is my audience doing when they do click. So how long are they staying on my website? Are they converting? Are they purchasing the product that I'm promoting? And giving you a lot more information so that you can, you know, create better ads. It's essentially what it's for.
Yeah, and I think this would be good for a lot of our clients that are just, you know, more visually use more visual things. Like Instagram is all about, all like the visuals and whatnot. So, you know, for like beauty companies and things like that, this will be extremely helpful.
Well, it is a natural progression because, you know, a lot of times we joke around here when people go, oh, my ad worked. Okay, what does that mean? Did you get a lot of clicks on the ad? Great, but then what happened?
Yeah.
Right? Because that's only like the first hump. It really matters, like, then what happens? Do they go to the website and buy something or fill out the form or whatever that looks like? So being able to see that whole process is really important to gauge ROI and to gauge effectiveness.
Yeah, because otherwise, you know, what are you advertising to? I mean, it's very hard to run ads and to run social media marketing if you don't understand the numbers aspect of it. Like that's a very big piece of it.
Right. All right, well, more to come as they unveil more of these analytics, and we'll start figuring out how to use them a little better. We talked a little bit about Snapchat, you alluded to it, but Snapchat also has some news to tell us, and that's that they're taking their platform more onto the desktop. Because Snapchat, like Instagram, is in the phone, right? But now Snapchat's, and you guys help me with this, they're unveiling their new lenses, which I think is like a filter, right? And you're going to be able to use the lenses on your desktop and not just on your phone. That seems very strange.
Yeah, I think this is interesting because the one thing that makes Snapchat special is it's only on your phone and it's quick.
And then it disappears.
Yeah, and it's something that's not like all the other channels because you can't go on a desktop and actually use it. So I'm wondering like how this will, if people are actually going to be using this feature.
Well, and does this mean that I'm sitting at my webcam out of
essentially, yes. And it's interesting because it seems very dated to me.
Yeah.
It reminds me of when everyone got photo booth on the MacBooks in the very beginning, and then they would put the filters on the MacBooks and stay there with it when webcams were first really introduced to the main public, and that just seems like a very old concept to me.
It does.
But then I also understand, and I read that they'll also be available when you're doing things like Skype sessions or video chatting.
Yes, Google Hangouts.
That's a much more thing that we're seeing a lot more often now. Like I'll even see it when I'm interacting with clients, and instead of doing calls, I'll be doing video calls. Not that I would be using a Snapchat filter as a client call.
Wait a minute.
But the fact that people are using these more often, it makes sense that on a consumer level, it might, maybe people are doing more video chat. And then on a friendly friend-to-friend, a coworker-to-coworker, maybe it is fun to use kind of like a fun filter.
So is this the kind of thing where, between our 3 offices in Atlanta and Vegas and here in California, we do a lot of video conferencing. So are we going to have different filters on each city? Like it'll be snowing in Atlanta.
And the option will be there.
We'll be panda bears.
Yeah.
We'll be panda bears, and isn't the one that makes your face an animal?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So we'll be all pandas over here in California.
But just because it's available doesn't mean that anyone will necessarily use it. So it'll take some time, just like when we see kind of these big changes on any of the platforms, about whether it actually picks up or if it kind of just becomes one of those features that comes and then no one really uses it.
Keep watching this show because in a few weeks we may be telling you they've done away with this feature.
Yeah.
Right?
Or it might be the coolest thing that's ever happened.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll have to wait and see.
That's true too. I would like to hear from other people though. If any of you think you're going to use this feature, let us know because I don't know. I don't know that it's that relevant for my life, but neither is Snapchat. I might have missed that window. And then our last piece of social media news is to Twitter, about Twitter, and this is kind of another weird one. They're making it easier to use Twitter with one hand.
Mm-hmm. I noticed this update.
Really? So you're holding it. You have an iPhone? It's only on iPhones.
And I'm also left-handed, so it kind of makes Twitter a little bit different because I'll accidentally like things and when I'm scrolling because my hand goes this way, and so. But this one, it's just like a little circle at the bottom, and it just makes it easier to tweet things.
So you can hit the button to compose.
Yeah, that's all it is really. And it shows like your recent photos, and then you can type something, and then just to post. But it's nothing really.
But here's my question, Ivana. Is it hard to use Twitter with 2 hands?
No, it's definitely
how hard
not.
Is this, right?
I mean, it didn't really change my experience on Twitter at all. I guess you can post things faster, but it's like 3 seconds to move your finger over. So
yeah, it just makes me laugh that they're all sitting around the Twitter headquarters going, you know what we should do?
Yeah,
let's make it
minimal
one-handed.
effort.
Yeah.
I wonder if there is another reason. I mean, I'm sure there is. Maybe it's that they're trying to get people to engage more on the platform because from a user standpoint, I find that sometimes I can get into the rhythm of just liking things or retweeting things. Twitter makes that very easy. It's not a channel where I necessarily go in and comment very often or tweet my own thoughts very often on a personal side. So I wonder if they're trying to encourage that behavior more, which in turn would make the entire platform overall be better. I mean, the whole point is that it's an authentic and getting more people's ideas out there, and I wonder if that's what the underlying mission is with this.
Yeah, if there were more content going out because you're making it a little easier. I mean, maybe. We'll see.
Could be.
But like you said, it's again, subtle.
I mean, it's a small change. It really doesn't make much of a difference, I don't think.
Well, and you guys will have to see because you both have iPhones and I don't. It's not available on Android right now, so I'm still going to 2-hand Twitter, and y'all will have to do it with 1 hand and see how it goes. So anyway, that's our social media news for the day. And now one thing we thought we'd do is sort of take it back to our roots a little bit and answer a question we surprisingly still get all the time, which is, why should my business be on social media, right? And you'd think social's been out for a little while. Most people want to participate, but we're believers that it's actually not right for every business. You don't have to be on social media, but if you are, and it is a good fit for your company, it can have a lot of benefits to it. So we're going to go over some of those benefits. Ivana, I know you're going to walk us through some of the reasons somebody might consider putting their business online. If you're somebody who's marketed in other ways, word of mouth or print advertising in the past, and you're thinking, should I shift some of that budget for 2019 to go into the digital world? Let's give you some things to think about as you make that decision.
Yeah, I mean, one of the really biggest things is you're reaching a much larger audience when you're on social media. About 71 of internet users are on social media, so that's
71%.
a really big chunk. Yeah, percent. But you know, compared to just marketing out of your storefront or anything like that, when you're on social media, you're able to reach people that are all the way across the country, across the world, places that you normally wouldn't be able to reach if you're just doing normal marketing.
Yeah, or you would reach them differently, right?
Right,
So
it would just be more difficult.
So it opens up a wider audience if that's your target audience on social, right? Because I think it depends on really who you're trying to reach, right?
Well, it goes back to what you said about whether it's if it's right for you and your company. There are some companies who rely solely on e-commerce, and their entire goal is to get their product out to the masses. And if you, let's say you've built your company up from the ground and your product came out of a small town in a part of the United States that didn't get as much foot traffic, it would be much more difficult for you to sell your product to just the people in your neighborhood or around you.
And
so the idea is that, like Ivana said, you could reach a lot more people who might be interested in your product. Maybe that wouldn't work for the vice versa, where they were selling a product that was much more localized.
Yeah, and I think you see that a lot more now in the recent years, is that people who want to, you know, just start up something, some sort of like, I don't know, DIY product that they want to be selling, you know, using social media to market that has been way more successful than if they were to just be able to reach people in their town. So
yeah, I think too, you have to kind of consider like, where is your target audience? Because not every social media channel has the same demographics.
Right.
And so once you define, you know, is it younger people or older people, men, women, that's going to buy my product, you know, how do you reach them? And then you do the research into each social channel and figure out, where's my audience spending their time, right? And so with the right channel, you could reach a plethora of people. But I think it also depends, like, do you have a restaurant where you need to reach people that come in to the door, or do you sell rugs online and it could be anyone, anywhere?
Yeah, it really depends.
So different channels will work for different scenarios like that.
Yeah, and another reason would be SEO. You know, you're increasing your SEO when you're on social media, because every time you're posting something new, you're creating another link to your website, and so that's just giving you more traction and more things like that on search engines.
Yeah, it's backlinks, right? You've heard that in SEO terms. Every time you link from your social, your Facebook page, to your website, that's creating a backlink. And it does. It lifts you in search engines.
And I like this point because I think this is something that maybe isn't people's immediate idea of why they need social media. A lot of people who might say to themselves, well, I don't need this because I don't sell a product online. But there are so many industries and companies out there that do rely on search. Whether you're, you know, a hospital or a local doctor, where the majority of the way people find you are from referrals and from Googling best doctor in my neighborhood. And so it makes sense that these type of industries really rely on the SEO, and you've got to find ways to rank higher compared to your competitors.
Right.
Well, even like we have clients that are personal injury attorneys. Like, no one needs a personal injury attorney until you're in an accident, right? And then you search.
And then it's you don't have the luxury of the time to be able to source those different options. You're going to go with the easiest person to find.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. So many businesses are like that these days. And, you know, a lot of it is we live in this culture where everything is delivered to us, right? Our meals come to our doorstep and our groceries and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so most of the ways we find businesses these days are online. Even if you're just looking for, you know, what's a gas station near me? Where can I eat, you know?
Yeah, I do
so much
everything
of it is
online
search.
as far as like online shopping and things like that. Like, I'm always online, so.
So having your business or your products come up high is important. And yeah, I think people underestimate the role social plays in that.
Yeah.
Because the more active you are across the board on social channels, the higher your website shows up and the easier it is to find it and search. So, okay, definitely a benefit. What else?
The last reason, probably the most important for everyone, is it's driving revenue for you. Depending on how you use it, you know, you can really utilize social media to keep your consumers in the know. So, you know, the end of year is coming, any holiday deals you have or things like that you can make social media exclusive. Those will really, you know, amp up your sales and just, you know, keep your consumers always involved with you.
Yeah, if social's working really well, right, it's going to be a big driver of traffic to your website. So especially if you need revenue coming in off your website, or people can learn about your products and services to then engage you, that's going to be where your ROI comes in. It's going to put you in front of a lot of people who can buy.
And I think the most important thing about this is it's very easy to just be like, I need to be on social media, want to be on every single platform, want to advertise on every single platform, and then at that point, there's no strategy behind it, and you could waste a lot of marketing dollars
and a lot of time and energy.
Marketing on the wrong people, on the wrong audience. So that's like going back to what you said, that's why it's so important to really understand what channels you should be on, so you can do them correctly, and then you can see that, you know, return on your investment. Because if you're investing into all the different channels, but your audience is only over here, it's going to be really hard to see that return in revenue.
Well, I think the other half of that, I think the other half of that is that you have to know what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Like, what are the things we're going to measure to figure out, is this working? Because some people, you know, we meet a lot of companies that just post on social and they say, well, I'm doing it, it's not working. Okay, well, how do you know? What are you trying to make happen there? Because, you know, we're big fans of strategy, and you should not wing any of this. Like, this is a thought out strategy. If I do this, then I'm going to trace it through, and X is going to happen in my business or in my website. I think you have to have that system set up before you just willy-nilly throw energy into it.
And no, you're right. It really is all about strategy, because, you know, you can't just post a picture of shoes you're selling and automatically expect to get all these sales. You know, it's really about making that connection with your audience and, you know, building a relationship with them, because once that relationship is built, they'll be a loyal customer, and they'll be more willing to shop with you that way.
Well, based off of what you said, Ivana, that's also knowing, like you said, knowing your goal, because maybe the goal of the campaign isn't just to sell shoes.
Right.
Maybe it's to get people to sign up to your newsletter, so that when you have a sale that comes around next month, or you're building this list, and then you'll see those sales down the road. But you need to know what your objective is for each campaign, and then I think that'll be much clearer to see what's working and what's not working.
Absolutely. So we're talking about driving revenue, and this is one of the busiest times of year for a lot of businesses to drive revenue, right? It's many retailers' busiest time because we're entering holiday season. We had to do a little quick research before we got on camera here. How many days till Christmas?
42
days. That is not very many days.
Yes.
And, you know, we're entering November. I guess we're in November. But November is the start of the holiday shopping season. Like, we are fully underway. And so if you're somebody who says, you know, I'm really going to try to make social work for me, let's give you some tips for how to make it work best during the holidays.
So the most important thing, I think, is knowing your deals, and kind of like we just talked about, knowing your goals and knowing what you're going to promote, and planning for that. Because I think one thing the mistake that people might commonly make is they get up to this time, and so there's only 42 days until Christmas, or I'm only a week away from Thanksgiving and Black Friday, I'm just going to put everything on discount, or I'll do an overall 20% off of my entire site. And I think that while that strategy could turn some people into sales, having a more thought out plan about what you should be promoting, you're going to see better results that way.
Absolutely.
And so the most important thing is to look at your data and to really dive deep into all of your different options here. Look into your social analytics, look at the things you've been promoting all year. What's been working? What have people been really interested in? What have you been seeing the most response on? I mean, we talked about, you know, getting clicks on your products, and maybe they weren't purchasing, but maybe with a discount and a persuasive enough discount, people showed interest in that before. And now if you make some sort of campaign around it, you might see some results from it. So it's really just about looking at all of that data and knowing your data, so that you can build a thought out campaign and have that run through the holiday season, and also be able to track your results better.
Absolutely. Well, so we start talking to our clients about what are we promoting for Black Friday, for the holidays in October, right? There's a lot of forethought, because if you dig in and do the research you're talking about, Taylor, you can have a lot better results because you're capitalizing on trends you're seeing anyway. Don't just pick a product and be like, okay, let's try to sell this one. Figure out what's your best seller. Could you amp that up? Where do you have the best margins, right? What do you need to sell more of?
Yeah, what have you been seeing the best feedback on? And maybe you had a product 6 months ago that sold really well, or there was a lot of interest in, and you don't offer it anymore. Maybe now you have the opportunity to offer that service again, because you know that you saw proven results from it from it 6 months ago. I mean, this is a time that people are looking for deals, and so if you can capitalize on people who maybe have been thinking about or have been interested in some products in the past, now is the best time to run a campaign around those.
Well, and it's as easy as looking at your website and seeing what are the most popular pages. You know, what product pages are you getting the most hits on?
Right.
And
or you can even, you know, what products aren't selling, and, you know, figure out why they aren't selling and try to use those to gain more, you know.
Yeah. You know, now's a good time for an incentive, right? A little discount. All right, so I know, let's say I've planned out things I want. Now, what do I do with that information?
So hopefully we've done this a little bit in advance. We've talked about a good time is at the beginning of fall to start planning out months ahead because there's so much more going on in the holiday season than one main holiday. So the most important, and another important thing is going to be to know your dates here. There are lots of different opportunities to run these campaigns around, and you can test and find out what works best for you. So there's a couple things coming up. We have Thanksgiving
Next week?
Black Friday, which is the day after Thanksgiving.
Also
Then you have
next
Cyber Monday, that next Monday. And so all of these in November kind of open up the opportunity you know, for expanding that campaign. I mean, we talk a lot about Black Friday deals, but really nowadays, from Thanksgiving to that next Tuesday, there's a lot of opportunity there to be, you know, talking about these campaigns.
Yeah, well, the Saturday after Thanksgiving is Small Business Saturday. It's not always that close to Thanksgiving, but this year it happens to be, and that's a great time for small local retailers and, you know, restaurants, retailers, brick and mortar stores do great with Small Business Saturday. What are you doing in your store to promote more foot traffic? And then, you know, even online, if you're a small business, you know, like we are, what are you doing to promote yourself to companies? And I think actually Small Business Saturday falling on Thanksgiving weekend is a benefit this year because people are off work, they've been in festive mood for a few days, and they might get out and really support those businesses. And we're trying to do our holiday shopping because there's a very small window to Christmas, and so that's a good way to buy.
And then after all the shopping, there's also Giving Tuesday, which would be the Tuesday after Cyber Monday. And on this day, I mean, not everyone who's marketing online is marketing for a business. I mean, a lot of people have nonprofit aspects to either their company or they are a nonprofit. And so there's a lot of time that in this holiday season, we're talking about Thanksgiving, and there's so much consumerism happening that a lot of people do want to spend this time to give back. And so there is an opportunity there where your organization can really help make a difference.
Right, and I think that's good, you know, to, you know, focus on something like Giving Tuesday, because right now you're seeing so many sales and deals and just people trying to sell you things all the time. So I think that's kind of like a breath of fresh air to see a brand do something like that.
Well, and it's a good time for a fundraiser too. If you have a nonprofit or you're trying to do your annual campaigns, maybe move it up a little bit. Don't go right around the holiday end of the year, but like move it to Giving Tuesday and let's start to get that momentum going.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of brand awareness and getting the word out, just like it is around sales, right? So lots of things we can capitalize on that don't have anything to do with Christmas. Like lots of opportunities before Christmas.
Just November.
From now until the end of the year is really the time that people are looking for the opportunity to buy gifts for themselves. There's a lot you see, commercials, you know, in front of your face. And so if you have the ability to remarket to your customers and to find the people who've landed on the pages in the past but maybe didn't convert, now it's going to be the most important time to do that remarketing, because people, if they have we talked about this a little bit earlier, is that people don't always convert right away. Sometimes they need to get to know your company better. They need to see a couple of your newsletters come through. And so now is really the time to be speaking to those audiences who all year you've been warming up a little bit, because, you know, now's the time that people are looking for it.
And talk a little bit about what remarketing means, because not everybody may be familiar with that. So I am interested, I click on something, I go to your website, but I don't buy it. Now what happens?
So the idea is that there'll be a piece of code or some sort of tracking material on the other end of the website that you as a brand would put on your website, and then you can go in through your favorite marketing platforms. Facebook is a really great place to do this, and it's one of the places that really goes the most in-depth on the remarketing tools. And then your second or even third ads are going to want to be to offer that person some sort of incentive to make the deal. So maybe your first ad was just introducing the product, letting them know, hey, I have this really cool service or really cool product that's out there. And then now as we get closer to the holidays, many people have probably noticed this when they themselves are on, on the internet. Nordstrom will track you like crazy, but as soon as you land on that page, then you might get the offer for 20% off, or a subtle reminder, hey, you put this in your cart, but you didn't, finish the checkout. So there's a couple different options there to then remind people, because it's going to take, a couple times for someone to decide, okay, well, I've been wanting to do this, I'll probably get it.
So basically, if I don't buy the first time, you're showing me an additional ad reminding me to go buy. That's possible on Facebook, but also Google. Google, you can do remarketing as well.
And LinkedIn as well.
And LinkedIn as well. So anybody who landed, but then you can retarget. I think this time of year, a lot of consumers wait for that remarketing, right? Like I will leave things in my cart and not purchase them, and then say, oh, well, now that I got the 20% off, maybe I'll go back.
It's funny that you say that, because someone the other day, actually in the office here, was saying to me, they were looking for like a baby product, and they had just gotten like a really great ad served to them with a bunch of money off, and then they, didn't take the plunge, didn't do it, and then the next week, she was like, oh, I'm ready to do it now, and then we both tried. No matter how hard we tried, we couldn't get that ad back. We tried to click on all the different things on their Facebook pages. We tried to go to their website to get that offer again, and they must turn their campaign off because we didn't see it. But people are waiting for that.
Yeah,
because
they do. They stall.
You see it once, and then there's going to be those coupons.
Yeah, I leave a lot of stuff in my cart, and then I wait to see what they offer me to complete it. And then one quick point I want to make is we're talking a lot about retail and products and e-commerce sales, that sort of thing. But actually, this time of year is great for service businesses to capitalize on as well. So, for instance, we're in a service business, and this tends to be our busiest time of year because people are trying to set up marketing campaigns that can take them into the new year, get everything set so that January 1st they're good to go. Maybe in your business it's the same. Are there a lot of people who could work with you now to start with a clean slate or something better for their business in January? This is a good time to market those services as well. You don't just have to be selling an online stocking stuffer to be able to capitalize on this time of year. So really think through, what's the mindset of your customers? What are they going to be needing to do in their business in fourth quarter or before first quarter? And how can you, as a service provider, help make their lives easier as well? I think those are all legitimate things to market during the holidays as well. All right. Well, good. Any final thoughts here, ladies? Lots of information.
Yeah, one thing I would just probably like to put out there is just to remember to know your audience's limits. So it's really easy when you get into the holiday season. I mean, we just spent quite a long time talking about all these different campaigns you can run, all these sales you can run, but it's really important to remember that a lot of people can be put off by that, and you yourself might see who you are as a company. And so it's important to remember that your social channels are there to tell that story as well.
Yeah, it's the know, like, and trust factor, right? And if it's all promotional content all the time,
it's not going to work for you.
No one's paying attention. So, all right, good thoughts. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll be back here next Tuesday at 12:30 Pacific time, 3:30 Eastern time. We do it every single week. In the meantime, if you have questions you need answered or information you want before then, we've got a couple of resources for you. First, you can go to our blog. It's KWSMdigital.com is our website, and we blog every single day. There's articles there. You can also go to our YouTube channel, which is KWSM Team, and that has past episodes of this show, and it has our tip of the day videos with lots of good information. And then if you get really stuck and you need our help, just email us, tips@kwsmdigital.com, and we're happy to answer your questions or help you think through your social media plan. All right, until next week, have a good week. We'll see you soon.